About a week before March 31st, 1922, farmer Andreas Gruber lived on a remote farm known as Hinterkaifeck, situated on the secluded outskirts of the Bavarian town of Grubern, far away from the urban chaos of Munich. This farmstead was characterized by its somber and isolated atmosphere. However, during that unsettling time, Andreas Gruber stumbled upon something unnatural. He spotted strange footprints originating from the sinister woods that encircled the farm, all leading ominously toward their home. But what sent shivers down his spine was the absence of any footprints departing from the house. Andreas Gruber chose not to inform the police about the unusual footsteps he discovered. This decision stemmed from the belief that their small German farm was generally peaceful and secure. Regrettably, this lack of reporting would ultimately prove fateful, as it left the Gruber family vulnerable to the horrifying and enigmatic tragedy that would later befall them. The farm was the residence of a 35-year-old woman named Victoria Gabriel, her two young children, 7-year-old Cecilia and 2-year-old Joseph, as well as her elderly parents, Andreas and Cecilia Gruber. The Gruber family was known for being pretty private, but their abnormal absence started raising eyebrows on April 1, 1922. On April 4th, their concern reached a breaking point. Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a farmer living nearby, decided it was time to investigate. Inside, they found 4 lifeless bodies, battered and hidden under a layer of hay. But trust me, that wasn't the scary part. Before the terrifying Hinterkaifeck murders took place, there were a number of disturbing incidents on the farm that suggested something was wrong. In the year before the tragedy, the family's maid suddenly quit her job. There were rumors suggesting that she left because she was scared. She mentioned hearing strange, unsettling noises coming from the attic, which made her believe that the house was haunted. Then, in March 1922, Andreas Gruber made a perplexing discovery on the farmstead, a Munich newspaper that he had no memory of purchasing. At first, he thought it might be a postal mistake, but it turned out that nobody nearby subscribed to that newspaper. These strange occurrences added an element of mystery to the farm. Eventually, the Gruber family hired a new maid, Maria Baumgartner. She arrived at the farm on the ill-fated day of March 31, 1922, brought by her sister, who would likely be the last person to see the family and their new maid alive. Tragically, that very evening, the Gruber family and Maria Baumgartner would meet a gruesome end. The following day, a couple of locals paid a visit to the Hinterkaifeck farm. It didn't strike them as overly suspicious that no one answered the door. As I mentioned earlier, the Grubers had a reputation for being reclusive, which unfortunately played a role in the delay in discovering the shocking truth. As time passed, things got more and more disturbing. The mail kept piling up, and nobody could explain why young Cecilia Gabriel wasn't going to school, and there was no communication from her parents. The family, who were usually very religious and went to church regularly, strangely didn't show up for Sunday worship. Word began to spread, and on April 4th, as reported in an archived post from the German site Donau Kurier, a neighbor named Lorenz Schlittenbauer, accompanied by 2 others, decided to visit the Gruber farmstead to check on them. Much like previous visitors, they found the farm engulfed in a ghostly silence, devoid of any signs of life. Their worst fears were confirmed when they entered the stable and discovered 4 lifeless bodies hidden beneath the hay. As they faced the harsh truth, they recognized the lifeless bodies of Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, his daughter Victoria Gabriel, and young Cecilia Gabriel. The search continued inside the house, and they found the lifeless bodies of Maria Baumgartner, the family's maid, and the youngest member of the family, Joseph. It was a deeply unsettling and sorrowful scene that would leave a lasting impact on the community for many years. The men promptly contacted the local police, initiating an investigation into the harrowing incident. As the investigation unfolded, it revealed several disturbing details. However, despite their efforts, the police never managed to apprehend or even identify the perpetrator responsible for the heinous crime. Initially, investigators suspected that the motive behind the murders might have been a botched robbery. Yet, from the very beginning, several factors complicated the investigation. For one, numerous individuals had interfered with the crime scene. moving the bodies, and even going to the extent of using the home's kitchen for cooking, which tampered with crucial evidence. Furthermore, the crime scene itself yielded no concrete clues regarding a motive. The initial theory of a robbery gone wrong was swiftly dismissed when police stumbled upon a substantial amount of money still present in the household. What became evident was that the murderer had remained on the farm for an extended period of time. The animals were well cared for, and the family's food had been consumed, indicating an eerie and sustained presence. According to a report from the German site, the authorities of that era were unable to secure any fingerprints from the crime scene. Adding to the investigative challenges, the farmstead itself was demolished shortly after the murders, making the prospect of obtaining usable DNA evidence virtually impossible. Even after a century of scrutiny and worldwide attention, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain shrouded in mystery, particularly when it comes to the motive. In 2007, technical college students from the Police University of Applied Sciences in Fürstenfeldbruck conducted an analysis of the crime and ultimately concluded that it was driven by a personal, emotional conflict. However, this insight hasn't brought us any closer to identifying the perpetrator or perpetrators. At that moment, there were a few significant suspects in mind. One of them was Victoria Gabriel's late husband, and there were suspicions that he might not have actually died during World War I. Interesting, right? As time has gone by, troubling details about the Gruber family have come to light. For instance, in 1914, Andreas Gruber was sent to prison for a year for incest, while Victoria received a 1-month prison sentence. Strangely, this was the same year when Victoria's husband Karl was believed to have died in France. These unsettling aspects of the family's past only make the Hinterkaifeck murders even more enigmatic. There are also some strange aspects of the Gruber family's history that contribute to the mystery. Cecilia Gabriel was born in 1915 and Josef arrived in 1919. While it's possible that Josef's father might have had a short-lived romantic involvement in Victoria's life, there have been unsettling suggestions that he could have been the result of an incestuous relationship between Victoria and her father, Andreas. Some theories propose that Karl Gabriel, who was believed to be dead, might still have been alive. According to these theories, he could have learned about the unsettling relationship between his wife and her father, resulting in a violent outburst where he murdered the entire family in a fit of anger. Others suggest a similar scenario, but replace Karl Gabriel with someone who might have been Victoria's lover, potentially Lorenz Schlittenbauer, the man who first discovered the bodies. These theories add layers of complexity to the mystery surrounding the Hinterkaifeck murders. Lorenz Schlittenbauer's actions after finding the bodies did cast doubts on his credibility, especially his involvement with the crime scene. However, any direct link to the crime was never conclusively established. One notable set of suspects included the Gump brothers, Adolf and Anton, who were listed as early suspects due to their connections to the Freikorps Oberland. However, the case against them was eventually discontinued due to a lack of concrete evidence. Another set of brothers, Karl S. and Andreas S., came under scrutiny when a witness claimed that their mother had confessed on her deathbed that her sons were the murderers. The witness mentioned an intriguing detail: the statement that Andreas had regretted losing his penknife during a conversation. While a pocketknife found during the farm's demolition raised suspicions, this lead did not yield any conclusive results. Peter Weber, who had worked with Joseph Betz, also emerged as a potential suspect. Betz testified that Weber knew about Hinterkaifeck and even suggested killing the old man to steal the family's money. Similarly, the Thaler brothers became subjects of investigation. According to Rieger, Joseph Thaler displayed unusual knowledge about the family's sleeping arrangements and their wealth. During their conversation, Rieger noticed the presence of another person nearby, adding another layer of intrigue to the case. Lastly, author Bill James raised the possibility of Paul Muller, a German migrant, being responsible for the Hinterkaifeck murders. Muller had been a suspect in an 1898 Massachusetts family murder and was linked to similar crimes in the United States. His alleged modus operandi bore some resemblance to the Hinterkaifeck murders, including the use of a blunt farm tool as a weapon and the stacking of bodies. James speculated that Müller might have left the U.S. for Germany around 1912, possibly to evade investigators and journalists who had begun noticing patterns in family murders across state lines. In the end, despite various leads that investigators pursued over the years, they all led to frustrating dead ends. After the initial autopsies, a disturbing turn of events occurred. The bodies of the Gruber family and their maid were tragically beheaded. These severed skulls were then sent to Munich in the hopes of uncovering paranormal clues, but unfortunately, the skulls revealed no secrets. The case was formally closed in 1955, but interrogations persisted until 1986, when Chief Investigator Konrad Müller retired, having made no significant progress toward unraveling the mystery, as the original evidence collected from the crime scene has either vanished or deteriorated to the point of being unable to provide any answers. However, in 2007, the Fürstenfeldbruck Police Academy took up the Hinterkaifeck murders as a cold case, hoping to finally solve this enduring mystery. For the sake of respect toward surviving family members connected to the case, certain theories remain undisclosed. At this juncture, it appears increasingly unlikely that the public will ever uncover the identity of the perpetrator or the motive behind these brutal murders. Whatever enigmatic secrets the Gruber family held in life and death now remain forever buried alongside them. What do you think might have happened on that fateful night in 1922? Do you have any theories or insights to share? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this story intriguing, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget to click on the video that's popping up on your screen for more compelling mysteries and historical tales.